This is my version of a Viking longhouse, and finally, curved roofs are a thing. Yes, these core wood shelters you just like all the other roof pieces in Valheim. Inside this version longhouse, I made sure the hearth is at the center compared to my first version longhouse that was a chimney. This build is bigger than my second version longhouse, but I think it is smaller than my first longhouse. I decorated it in a way to give you all ideas as to how much space there is and what it can be used for, so I hope that helped. With that said, we're gonna dive into how to build this Viking longhouse in Valheim. Here are the materials that you need. So for the longhouse, this build, we're gonna do it differently compared to the others. So starting off, we're not gonna do like a regular layout on the ground, but we're gonna start with the roof. So what we're gonna do, you're gonna place a pole right here, and you're gonna use this as a marker. So you're gonna place 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, next thing you're going to do, you're going to place some regular wooden walls. Doesn't matter how you set it. I'll just use the front because it's smooth. Because what we're going to do next is going to kind of help us to kind of see where we can set the markings for where we're going to start the roof. So what you're going to do is that you're going to count 10. You're going to add 10 of these going all the way across there, and you're going to go all the way up to the top here, where you have this last beam here. You're going to do the same thing over here. So in total, you should have about 20 of these 2-meter walls in total. So you got 10 on one side and 10 on the other. I'm just going to go ahead and complete this off screen. So the next thing that you're going to do, once you have the wall here done, you're going to grab your 2-meter beam, and remember the snapping points here, the mark that you made here. So you're going to do whatever you do at the front, you're going to do the same thing for the back. So for the front here, you're just going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what you're gonna do, so 1, 2 2-meter beams right here, and you're going to make a snapping point here, and you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And right here at the end, you're going to switch on over to a 1x1 beam. Place that right at the end, and then right at the end here, you're going to place a door, and just grab another 1x1 beam, and just place that right there to make the snapping point. You're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Also, you're going to repeat the same thing on the back. Then we'll proceed from there. So once you have done this, so you have done the front and the back as well. So the next thing you're going to do, so starting from our center point here, so you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the 5th beam right here, just make sure to mark it. Just place you're going to place a door right here, right at the end. It's going to create a snapping point here for you. And then you're going to take a iron pole, and you're going to snap it right there at the end of the door, like that. You can take out the door, double check this to make sure that the iron pole is indeed touching the ground. It should be blue. Once it is blue, then you are good. You're going to pretty much repeat the same step on the other side as well, and the back part. And then once you place this in, you're going to go 1, then 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to switch over your iron beam, and then go 1, 2, like that. So go ahead and complete the remaining 3. So next thing I want to point out, just want to make sure that you guys get it accurately. So when you place in the door on the 5th beam here, the door should be, the snapping point should be like going in, like towards the middle of the structure here, like this way instead of going that way. So make sure you do that for all the sides. So you may have to adjust the snapping points when you switch on over to this side, just like what you see right here. I have the snapping point here, and the snapping point goes more towards the middle. And if you go around the back, it's the same thing right here. And also once you've done it right, they should connect properly. If there isn't anything lining up, then you've done one of them wrong. So the next thing that we're going to do, so right here where we have the beam kind of going across here, so this wall you're going to pretty much start from here. You're going to do the same thing on the other side right here. Start line with that wall there, and you're going to raise this up by 1, 2, 3, 4, and then right at the top you're just going to place a half wall like that. And that's going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. I'm just going to complete this off screen. Another thing as well, so if the walls are breaking up top here, make sure to bring this iron pole up just to give it support. You're gonna need this for the roof that you got to place up top here. So go ahead and just add those in. Do the same thing over here. Like that. Maybe just add like a 1 meter pole up at the top here so that you can place the iron pole right into that 1 meter pole. Another thing as well, make sure to add these iron beams here. The middle is collapsing as well. So just go ahead and bring this straight across like that. Should meet in the middle like this. And this is going to be an important mark that we're going to work from here. So the next thing that we're going to do, so we're going to start from right here at this level. So where we have the beam here on this level here. So you're going to place 1, 2, 3, and then place 1 right here. And then you're going to place a extra right here like that. Then we're going to switch on over to the other side. Just going to place 1, 2, 3, 1 right here, and the extra right at the end here like that. So after that, the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to grab your sign, and right here where we have placed our marker, this is our center point. And what you're going to do is that the sign where you have the 3 dotted lines on the showing on the sign right there, you're not going to center the sign, and there's going to be a reason I'm going to show you. So you're going to slide this over. Make sure that the top of the sign is pretty much at the same level as the iron beam that is behind. So you're going to bring this over. The dotted line should be come over a bit here. So the end of the sign should be like about right there. So as you can see right at the end here, it's like almost to the end for this little part of the wall. And what you're going to do, you're going to paste this into the sign. I'm going to drop the info in the description so you can copy and paste it in your sign, because it's a specific size, and the image or the emote that is being used, that is what I'm using as a guideline. So I'll paste that in right here, and it should come out like this, as you can see. So the thing that I wanted to point it out, why I kind of pushed the sign over just to nudge it over a little bit and not centered, is because when this image here is being pasted here, if you go right at the back, we're just going to use this as a mark right here where you have a little spillage. We're going to place another wall here just to cover that. But as you can see, if we look at this side and then this side, they are even. Now when I center it, I had the problem where it wasn't even, and it kind of spill over on this side more than the other. Because we're going to use this as a guideline, we have to make sure that everything lines up and balances out properly so that your build comes out a lot cleaner. So what you're going to do, so just go ahead and just add an extra wall right here just to make sure that we have that spot there covered, and one right here like that. So the next thing that we're going to do, once we have our little guideline here set up here, you can just use the iron poles here just to give you to put like a platform here just to make it easier for you to do the next step here, which is using we're going to use 26-degree core wood beams for this. And what I do here, and we're just going to look at our center point here. This is our center point. What you can do is just rotate that, make the edge of the wood is facing you so that you can see where it is. So right here is our center, and we switch on over to a 26-degree beam here forward, and holding on shift key. Now you're going to stand, so when you have the platform here, this is the level where we have the beam here for the iron poles, you can be able to see it much better. So you're going to make sure that the top of the core wood is pretty much in line with the top of our little guideline there, and that is what you're pretty much going to follow as you go along and place the core wood, going all the way down to the end there of the wall that we have set up there. So just take your time. This is pretty much the hardest part of this build, and this requires a lot of patience. Guideline is there, is just doing all the work for you, so you don't really have to try that hard. It's trying to make it line up properly. As you can see, it's this gradual slope there. Yeah, so we're gonna take our time here to space it, because once you have these placed in, everything else is pretty much a breeze from here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you a time lapse of what I did here, and follow the line here. Once you have that placed in, so you can go right up the top here, and you pretty much go follow the line here. You set the snapping point for the beam here to the end, set to the top, and you just can snap these in. I've already done so, so you can just go ahead and do that so that you have these already here, right here, just waiting for you to place those in. Also, if any of the woods are breaking, they may need to get some support. So what you can do for the time being is that you can even add some iron poles here in the middle here, just to give it a decent support so it can hold up. But right now all of them are good, they're green, so no need for adding that. It's just to have the roof in place here, just to get some stability so that they can stay there until you kind of get the walls up, where the support will come from the walls and hold up the roof from there. The next thing that you're going to do once you have these in place here, so you're going to add 2 more rows of these core wood. So you're going to start anywhere, just bring them all the way out like this. You could start from right here where you have the iron pole and beams, so that you can get like a little bit of support there, right there, and kind of bring the support over to the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete this off screen, and we'll proceed from there. So the next thing that you're going to do once you've added the remaining rows here, so it should look like this. I've already done the back part here, so you should also have that done. So we're going to proceed to add like our front here. So we're going to start from the ends here. We'll just take that out. So right here at the end, we're going to place a 1 meter beam that way. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Well, all the other corners and ends here. One over here, and you're going to do the same thing for the other side. And what you're going to do is just going to take a 2 meter pole and just going to place 1, 2. Now this will vary. This all depends on if you follow the line exactly. There's some other different factors that may come into play that may be slightly a bit different. Is for over here, if I do the same thing, if I place down the 1 meter beam and then the 2 meter right here, if I place another 2 meter, it's going to pretty much be showing through the roof here, while over here it's not showing. Now in this case here, if it happens, it's no biggie. You're not going to get it perfect. We just have to work with what we have. So switch on over to your core wood just to fix this, and you just break that 2 meter pole and just going to use the forward snapping point there, and it kind of pushes down the pole there just a bit there, so you're not seeing it right over the top of the roof. So if you're having that, you can just go ahead and do that. And the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to use the same core wood, and as you can see, it's created a snapping point here, right there, like that. It's going to lower the snapping point for us so that we can place this 26-degree ashwood wall. Set the snapping point to bottom. I'm going to place 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Now the reason why I placed the core wood right here is so that this ashwood 26-degree wall doesn't show above the roof here, which is not going to look good. Over here we have to do the same thing. As you can see, if I try to place it there, it starts to show, and if I try to follow that line, it's pretty much going to be there, and yeah, it will get, yep, that's what we're trying to avoid. So we're just going to take these out, switch on over to the core wood, place it right there, lower the snapping point for us, switch back over to the 26-degree wall, and we just aim right there, so lower, and then we just carry that up. So it's going to go by 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. Now it's showing just a little bit. For this one, we can make it pass, or we can maybe manual place this in, but because it's just one and it's not too obvious, but if you have OCD, then you may have to manually place the ones right here, just so that you don't get that last one showing right there. So once you've added these here on both sides, and we're going to do the next step here. So I've started placing a stone wall here, pretty much in front of the beam that we have placed here. So we're just going to go over by 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can do the same thing on the other side. Also, you're going to repeat the steps, all the steps here on the other side or on the back. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to take your beam, your wooden beam here, and you're going to snap it in the 26-degree beam, 26-degree wall here, like this, and just bring it all the way down. Now once you've brought all of them all the way down like this, you can just put another row of stone in front of this one right here, like that. And so you're just going to bring this this across here and stop right there. So you're going to repeat the same steps on the other side here and also do the back as well. So once you have all of this in place here, so I've done the back here as well and added the stone row at the front. Another thing that you should add, just grab your 2-meter pole right here in front of the iron pole here. So you have a snapping point right here. So it's going to place these poles here, just going all the way up to the top here like this. You may have to slide this down if it is not if it is showing through the roof. If it is not, then you can just leave it as is. Just go ahead and do the other side. We're going to place this in. So it's not showing, so good. So we have that set. Then we switch on over to our small arch, ashwood arch. And we're going to add a little bit of curve to our window here right at the top. So we're setting the snapping point to the top here, so we can snap that in like that. One right there, here, here. And we pretty much do the other side, coming down. And that. So let's go ahead and just do the same thing on the other side. Now, when you're done with that, so we're going to focus right here. Focus right here. We're going to touch up our frontier just to kind of get the structure up. So you place 3 of these 2-meter poles, snap to the point that we've created a long time, and we're going to switch on over to our 26-degree beam, and we're just going to bring this down here. You may have to put a 2-meter pole right there just to support it so it doesn't break, and bring it all the way down to the ground. Once it's all the way down to the ground, you can break this, but also you're going to need a snapping point here. So I'm going to place a 2-meter beam here and place another 2-meter pole right there. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Let's bring this down. 2, 3, 4. Place a 2-meter pole right here. Bring it all the way down to the ground. Take that out. Place the beam. And then a 2-meter pole right here. Next, what you're going to do, switch on over to your 45-degree beam. You're going to snap it right there. 1, 2, 3. And you should be able to get that 4. Do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it should hold up. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to, so switching on back to our little windows here. We're going to use our vertical walls. So go to the heavy build, get the vertical wall. We're going to start from the top here. You can place that in like that and bring it all the way down to the ground. 1 right there. Up on the top here, bring it all the way down. Up. For here, you would have to create a snapping point here. We're going to use like a 2-meter beam here. And what you're going to do, you're going to grab your arch, small arch here, and just slide these in. Won't see that much because most of it goes into the beam. We can take this out, but we'd have to put something up top here. And if we put like a half wall, it's going to show, and we can't bring it down because it's going to pretty much go into the arch here. So what we could do is that we could just manually place one of these right above like that, so you can kind of see the arch that way. Then you can just go ahead and slide in the vertical walls here like that, and we're just going to go ahead and complete this off the screen here for the front. So you're going to do the same thing here for the front here and for the 2 backs, but for this we're going to do something different. So we're just going to don't repeat this step here for the back part. So once you've added the vertical walls, I've went ahead and added glass behind the vertical walls, so you can go ahead and do that as well. So looking at this part here where we pretty much added like 7 stone walls, you're going to add 1 more right here and 1 more right here. So you're going to bring this up. So we're just going to use 1 by 1 stone wall here, 1 here, a 2 meter, 1 meter, 2 meter. And then we add 1 more right there. Now I forgot to mention how high you're pretty much raising the wall. 6 stone walls high, like what I've done here. And the next thing you're going to do is that you're going to grab your ashwood beam, 1 by 1 meter beam, And just using the 1x1 stone wall here as a guide, just going to manually place this right on top of it like that. Now, and then what you're going to have is that you're going to place a 2-meter beam right in front here like this, going across over to the end here. You can repeat the same thing on this side. Also, you're going to add these walls at the back here as well. So with this 1-meter beam here, it is going to place a couple of these going across like this. And then the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to take a 2-meter pole and you're going to snap it right in the snapping points here provided by the 1-meter beams like that. And the next thing what we're going to do is that you're just going to take a wooden wall and you're just going to place that right behind our little design here. So this is gonna have a wooden wall for a backdrop for it. So that's it. Looks like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete this side and also go ahead and do the back as well with that. So once you've added the stone walls here, as you can see, and they added the detail here at the top here, so you're just going to add the shingle roof and like that. Now when you're at this little spot here, you can just grab your 1-meter beam and just set the snapping point to the end there and just snap that in. It should overlap the other shingle roof. And then right here, we're just going to pretty much switch over to 45-degree. And also we can also use that snapping point that is there for the 45 degrees so that we can go all the way up like that. For the top here, maybe a little bit different. So you pretty much want to snap it right to the end here so that it kind of goes into the core wood. Makes it look cleaner that way. I've already done the other side, so you can just go ahead and do that. Now this is just for the front. For the back, we're gonna do something a little bit different. So we're just going to wait until we're done with the front, then we do something with the middle section here for the back. So the next thing that we're going to do, so right here where we have the regular wooden pole, you're gonna take out the roof here so we can make some space here so we can place we're gonna grab our 1-meter pole. And we're just going to hold down on shift key and just going to place it right there. We're making a custom column. Place that in nicely right there. You can do a trick here where you hold down on the control key. It will show you how the piece will look once after you place it. Because when you trying to place the pole here, what you see may not show exactly how it's going to look when you place it down. Meaning it may look like it lines up properly, but when you place it, it's pretty much off. So a little tip there so you can remember when you're placing these wooden poles rather. So we're just going to place a couple of these here. We're going to go all the way up here. We'll place a 1-meter on here. We switch on to 2-meter. When I start off with a 1-meter right here, I'll just normally switch over to a 2-meter pole like that. Actually, there's a little bit of adjustment here. This is supposed to be a darkwood pole. We're going to take the middle part here out, switch to a 4-meter one and then a 2-meter one again like that, and we're just going to go over to the other side and repeat the same steps. So place that in nicely like that. We're just going to place 2-meter darkwood. We'll take out the bottom one here, place one right there, take that one out, let's put a 4-meter one instead. And then put a 2-meter one on top. Switch over to regular wood. And we'll just bring this all the way up like that. Now for right here, we're going to, for the top, we're just going to hold down on shift key. And we're just going to manually place this in like that. So kind of work with like almost the same level as maybe if there's a beam that you place here to kind of cover a little hole there. It may not be exactly the same line there, but close to it. Just kind of use as a guide. And for down here, we're just going to set this to auto, and we're just going to place one here. We snap a 1-meter beam to the side here and right here like that. And then you can proceed to put the roof back in place. We'll switch back to 45. Snap that in there like that. And pretty much that's what you should have. Now, the next thing that you're going to do, so for right here, what you're going to do, you're going to switch on over to your 26-degree X. You're gonna snap it right at the back part of the shingle roof here, and then you're gonna switch to a. You're gonna use 1 meter and 2 meter poles for this. So I'm just gonna start off here with a 1 meter pole. You can place one right here. Place another here. Let's switch over to 2 meter pole. One here, one here, one in the middle. It should go all the way up to the top here. This one is gonna go too far, so it's gonna place a 1 meter. You can place a 1 meter right here. That's fine. And we're doing the same thing on the other side. So another thing that you're going to do now, you see that there's some little. It doesn't go all the way up. That is fine. So we're going to grab our 20 or 45-degree beam here, and we're just going to add a layer of depth here. So we're going to place one right there, and we're just going to place another kind of overlapping it like that. Oh, snap in like that, and just bring this down like that, all the way down. Let's bring it all the way right down into the roof. Now for these little parts here, now what I would normally do is that I would grab the wood, and what you can do, actually I can take out this 1 meter pole, and I can use a 2 meter pole instead, and slide this down like that. You can do the same thing over here. Assuming that we have the snapping point, we can just take that out. This one is good. This one needs a 1 meter pole, or you could just place a code right here. Switch on over to 1 meter pole. And also just want to mention that make sure that the edge of the wood is facing me. So that's pretty much the look that we're going for. So where there needs to be a little bit of adjustment, you just use the code to get that extra snapping point, so you can slide that down just a little bit so it doesn't show too much right here. And you can just take out the X once you're done, and you can just put the 26-degree beam instead right here. Just have a nice clean line. So once you have these poles here added, what we'll do right on the back here is that I'll add some glass. What we're going to do is that we aim at the back of the. So hold down on Shift key and just aim at the back here. And the thing is that with glass, you can't aim at the glass because it won't support it. So you'd have to aim at one of the poles here, and it will kind of auto snap onto the glass like that. And we're just pretty much doing this, going all the way up here. So it may show a little at the side here, not too much. It doesn't show at the front. You may see it from the side. Tell your friends it's a feature, not a bug. So the next thing that you're going to do after you added the glass here, and this is pretty much how it should look. So right here in the middle snap point here, we're going to create our doorway, frame out our doorway. So just going to grab one of these dark wood gates, and we just going to place these here like that. Right at the end, what you're going to do is that you're going to place a pole like this. Place a 1 meter pole on top there to kind of meet the 45-degree beam. So what you can do is that you can take out the hole here in the middle, and what we're going to do is that we're going to create a column. But before we do that, we're going to grab our half wall here, this one here, switch on over to a 1 by 1, one like that. And then what we'll do next is that you're going to grab your stone, you're going to snap it right at the end there, and pretty much bring this all the way over like that. You can snap a 1 meter 1 by 1 stone right at the end, or you can just use the snapping point that was given to me, as you can see right here. So I'm just pretty much going to do that and go over the other side, and then we just go up one more. Now if the stone is shown here, we can just manually place that in, just slide that in, holding on Shift key. like that. And then we kind of take a 2-meter pole here. Let's see, we're gonna use another 2-meter pole here. We're gonna use a core wood to help us to slide this down just a little bit here, like that. We'll just do the same thing on the other side. Switch over to the core wood, 2-meter pole, slide it down, and we have something looking like that. The next thing that we're gonna do is that we're going to add custom columns here. So just like what we did with the other columns, we're going to start off with the dark wood. We're going to center that to the pole that we have here behind. Then what we're going to do is switch on over to 2-meter regular wood. Rotate that 2 times. So 1, 2, hold down on Shift key, manual place it in like that. Over to the other side. I'm going to show you I'm holding down on Control too. You can see the wiggleness of the wood. This helps a lot when you're using stone, because the stone walls are not necessarily straight. They are a bit deformed. They're deformed a lot. So once that is set, see, we're just gonna carry this up further here, and we want to have like a 1-meter snapping point. So we're just going to do right here, here, and then we just need to make one for here. We should be able to take out that 1-meter pole like that, and we can go ahead and do the other side. So the next thing that we're going to do, so right at the top here, we're going to add more depth to the front here. So by adding the 26-degree beam right up top, we manually place this in, and we just snap another here, and we're just gonna bring this down. You should see that the column here that we're doing to be like they're flowing together. And then the next thing you're going to do, you're going to add another layer. You're going to set the snapping point to the bottom this time, and we're just going to snap that in like that. Do the same thing right here, and we pretty much going to bring this down as well. And what you're going to do is that you're going to grab your 26-degree forward, and you're going to place that in the 26-degree wood there like that. You're gonna go ahead and just repeat the same steps here on the other side. And just to update here, if you're having problems with this little gap here, just use the core wood again, switch on over to a 2-meter pole, and just slide it down, so it kind of goes up. You can do the same thing here for this part. Just use a core wood, slide it down just a little bit like that. We have this thing going on, but yeah, we have a clean top here. What you can do is that you can add some little detail or decorations to kind of cover this little flaw. So just a little suggestion that you can try. The next thing that you're going to do, we're going to add a bit of detail here, more to the front. So I've added these dark wood beams here, so we'll place these right on top of the stone wall that we have here. Now for this little part here, we're just going to grab our 2-meter pole, and we're just going to place it right on top there, so it'll go up into the roof like that. And then we're going to switch on over to, we're going to place a, so we're going to use a snapping point here that's on the column. We can do that, or we can switch to using a 2-meter pole beam rather, and just kind of center it like this. Better yet, let's use a 1-meter beam. Try to center it as best as I can. And just manually place that in. Switch on over to darkwood, 2-meter darkwood. So if it's coming out too much, we want to kind of go into the column here. If it's too much, we're just gonna aim at that 1-meter beam, slide it just a little bit more into the column, like that. We can take out the 1-meter beam here and just slide in another darkwood there, make it look nice and clean like that. Then we switch on over to our item stand, and remember the little flaw here we have. We're just gonna cover this up. We're just gonna take the item stand, we'll just place it right over it like that. We're just gonna add a little design here. We're just gonna try to center this item stand as best as we can, like that. And then we just add one to the side here. Just kind of watch the top of it. We'll take that out for the time being. We just watch the top of it, make sure it's lined up nicely like that. Then we can put this back in like that, and we can just do the same thing on the other side here. Take this out, slide this in, and once you are done, you're pretty much going to repeat the same step here at the bottom. So you're going to grab a 1 meter beam and then place it right at the front here like this. To the side, front here, hold on shift key, one left, one right, like that. Switch on over to the item stand, and we're just going to place one here. We kind of use this as a guide here, so at the same level as the little iron strip here on the door, like that. And then we just rotate this 2 times, and we just place this in like that. May have to adjust the positioning of center this more. You see that our entrance is pretty much taking shape. And the next thing that we're going to do, so right on the back here, so we're going to place 1 by 1 floor. But we're going to use the door here to help us. So we're going to snap it right here at the end like that. Switch back over to 1 by 1 floor, and you're just going to place it so that the end of the door here, the edge of the door here, is pretty much in line with the end of the 1 by 1 floor is pretty much in line with the door here at the front. You can take out the door, and then you can just put the remaining 2 1 by 1 floor. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And the next thing that you're going to do after that, just make sure that we have the right snapping point here to the end. Yeah, like that. The next thing that we're going to do after that, once you have these in, is that we're going to use these stools. So we'll just grab our stool here, and what you're going to do is that slide this just a little bit into this side here, not too much. And what you're going to do is that make sure to kind of zoom in here so that you can line these up properly. So just take your time and just place these in side by side each other like this. Till you're all the way over here. And we pretty much can go up with this. But right here, we should actually add another pole. So that kind of cover up that little corner there. So you can go ahead and add something like this here, just for the sake of the window here, so you don't have a little gap here when you're done placing the stools. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete this off screen, and then we'll proceed from there. So I just wanted to share some little bit of adjustments I've made. So I've added the stools here, as you can see here. I've adjusted the holes here on the side. I kind of rotated and make the edge of the wood is facing you. And also for like adding the stools up here, you will have difficulty adding these right up the top here, so you would have to take out these beams here to add the stools. But once you add them, you can put the beams back in with ease. So just want to bear in mind of that. Also, I've added on top of these 1 meter beams, I've placed these 1 by 1 walls, and then I've placed the item stand right above it like that. And to finish off this part section of the build. So the next thing that you're going to do, you're going to grab your cord, and you're just going to place it right here at the end here for the stone wall. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get a 1 meter beam. You're going to snap it right above the cord like that. Switch on over to your stone floor, set the snapping point to the top, then you're able to place that stone floor in like that. Next, what you're going to do is that you're going to bring the stone floor 1 2 3, then rotate it. So right on the third one here, you're going to grab your 1 meter beam. You're going to create a snapping point here,
and then you set the snapping point to the top, then rotate the stone floor 1 2 like that, and then 1 2 right here like that. And we can take out the 1 meter beam. Now if you want to bring this over to make it in line with this part here, you can use the door. Just kind of nudge this over a bit like this. Set the snap point to the top, and just bring that over. So that's that wooden design here for the column is pretty much in line with the stone floor. So you can go ahead and repeat the same steps on the other side. Let me just do that again. Forward, right at the end here, like that. 1 meter beam. Switch on over to stone floor. Snapping point to the top. Place that in. Can take out the forward. Pick out 1 meter beam. 1 2 3. Place another here. On number 3 stone floor, you're going to place a 1 meter beam here. Switch on over to the stone floor again. Rotate that 2 times like that. Rotate this back 2 times like that. And you want to bring this over. Just use the door to the end here. Now the last over here was using like the middle door snapping point. So bear in mind of that. So place it right here and not go all the way out. Take out the door. Should end up with something looking like that. And then what we're going to do is that we'll just kind of bring this over that point. Kind of turn this in like that. Yeah, nice. Do the same thing over here. I did a 1-tick rotation. And then what you're going to do, you can switch on over to your marble and set a snapping point to the top one like that. We're just going to pretty much use this to add a layer of detail here. Nice little black trim at the bottom like that. Switch on over to the smaller marble. Gonna get that right into the little pocket there. We can do the same thing for the base here. We create like a sandwich. And what we do is that we'd aim here slightly a little bit lower. Like that. Thread it in like that. And then for right here, we set a snap point to the top. And we can just manually place this in. And we can set it in a way that snapping point here comes out just a little bit more. And we kind of go over here. And we can manually place this in like that. If it doesn't look like it's going to be accurate, remember you can hold down on control and see what it would look. So something like that. So go ahead and repeat the same steps here on the other side, adding the black marble trim. The next thing I'm doing here is that I'm adding the same detail there for the fronts over on this side, and pretty much do the same thing where place a code right here at the base here and then place a 1 meter beam here so that it comes out like this. I'm just going to place this stone wall right here so we can use that to place the marble. So to set the snap point to the top, I'm rotating this, holding down on shift key, then I position it in a way where it kind of comes up just a little bit like right in the middle, and just kind of bring this over. You can pretty much see that there's a theme that I'm going with right here with the marble and stone. So we only add in this trim here. We're not going to make a sandwich like what we did with the front. We're just going to take this stone wall out. Also, you can put this stone wall right here, pretty much in line with this stone wall that going across from the front like that, and you're gonna pretty much bring this to the back here for the time being. You can also go ahead and do it for the other side and also add in the detail here. And just a little update here. So the part that I've extended here with the stone wall, I pretty much carried the black marble over and also extended the stone floor here. You just have to set the manual snapping point and just aim at the stone here. It's gonna push it right into stone like that, and then we can just rotate it and just you can slide it forward and back like that. But for right here, I'm pretty much going to place 2 meter beams here that's going across like this. I'm not going to do too much, although I can add like more detail here, but it's just as simple just to kind of trim out the bottom part of the window here. I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing here because as you can see, it looks, it doesn't look finished. So we just going to add that in and it should look nice. As you can see here, this is what we have so far and we're making progress. So the next thing that we're going to do, after you've added the
stone detail here at the base here. Pretty much carry this around to the other side. Just one thing I want to point out is like when you come to the end here with like the stone floor, you can just place a 1 meter beam and then just place the stone floor there right at the end of the beam and pretty much bring this over and connect it to the side here. So I pretty much kind of did that and then carried around to the back here, going all the way to this point here. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to, so what you can do is that you can take out these, because no longer need them. The only thing that we're going to need is just the iron pole that is providing support. So you can just take out all of these here, and also you can remove the sign that has the emote there. So the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take your ashwood beam, you're going to set it's a 26-degree beam, and you're going to set it to the snapping point to the bottom, and you're going to place it right here like that. The reason why I set the snapping point to the bottom is so that half of the angle beam goes into the regular wood here. And we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. We're just going to eyeball it and just kind of make sure that everything looks good right at the point here. We're not going to look perfect, you know, and we'll just work with what we got there. And we just bring this down, the turn, rotation, bring that down, and then we switch on over to 45-degree, bring it all the way down to the ground like that. Now, what I've done here is that I've placed as you can see, outer corner 26-degree beam here, and I pretty much set the snapping point to like the top here, the top center, and I can snap it onto the beam that's right here. And I place 26-degree shingles right here, and on the other side, just set a snapping point there like that, pretty much parallel to the beam here that we have placed here. We're just gonna do the other side here with the ashwood like this, switch to a 45-degree, bring this all the way down to the ground like that. So this is how it should look here from this angle, and we're going to touch this up some more, but we want to make sure that we get the right look here from the front. And the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to switch on over to your stone floor. We're just going to grab the stone floor here. If you're wondering how I did that, so if you're new to the game, just hold down on shift key and click on the mouse wheel, and it will copy the piece there for you. So yeah, it helps a lot when you're building, you're trying to build something fast. So we're going to grab this stone floor and we're going to center this. I'm going to try to center this over this beam here. Maybe need to push this over just a bit. So I'm just going to kind of use that stone floor there as something to aim at there to help push that in and take that out. We have something looking like that. We could do some more stuff where we can grab like a 2 meter beam here, just place that in front, and just kind of wrap this around the stone floor like this. Here around the back, you maybe have to just manually place that in just to make it look good. So and then what you can do, you can add a bit more. So we could just go like with the wooden beam here. So we're gonna maybe set the snap point to the bottom, and we can do something like this. I'm just gonna wrap this around, manually place this one in. I'm just gonna push that in a bit more, kind of flush in with the beam there, like that. So you can go ahead and do that for the other side here and the back part. Then we'll proceed from there. So one thing I forgot to mention about this part here, which I've done here and I didn't explain it. So let me just fill you in on that. So pretty much I placed snap the 26-degree beam right here. Right here is going to be like a snapping point after you place the X and place the other beam over it. And I place 1, 2, 3, 4. And then right here on the fourth beam, I place an X here, and then place another 26-degree beam overlapping that. And then I place a 45-degree beam here. So the next thing we would do is that we're going to grab our 26-degree beam, and we're just pretty much following the line here provided. So we're just going to switch on over to set the snapping point to the bottom. We're just going to bring it down like this, and we're just going to bring it up. We're just going to pretty much do the same thing. Just add a 26-degree X and then place a ashwood over it. Take out the X, switch over to a 45-degree beam like that. And that's how it should look. And then you just can just switch on over to the roof and just add this in. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I wanted to point it out. So the next thing that you're going to do for the sides here, so this side and on the sides, I've already done the other side. So I'm just going to do this once. It's pretty much going to be the same thing. So you're just going to grab your regular wooden wall. It's nothing really fancy. I'm just going to put up a wall here just to kind of block this off. There's going to be like a snapping point here. You can just place the wall right here. We're
pretty much close to the beam here. Then you just bring the wall over. It should be about like 5 of these here. And then what you would do, let's go on the inside. Then you can go for like a 45-degree. It all depends though, because on the roof, but it should hide. As you can see, you're not seeing the 45-degree roof going right here because it's being covered by the beams here up above. So you can place that there and place one over on the other side. You can double check and see. Shows a little bit there, not too bad. We can work with it. And then what you do, just place regular walls. Then actually this needs a little bit of adjustments here. Just place that in like that. If it is that you doesn't look clean, you don't like it, then my suggestion is you can just switch to like a 26-degree like that. Like that. Now, the reason why I was just like I mentioned the 45-degree because I did it over here and it wasn't showing. So it all depends because the roof is like it's manually placed in, so it can be different for you and for me in some cases. But you'll find that you can use the 26-degree and or the 45, whichever. And yeah, so we have that placed in, and we'll just place the walls in here like this. We'll just place one right up top here, and that's not showing right up above, which is good. Hide all that flaw, kind of keep that in check right there. So the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to switch on over to our 2-meter beam, and we're just going to place it right here. It's pretty much making the end of the beam here in line with the wall, the end of the wall right here. And just bring this over like this, and then you switch on over to your 2-meter pole. And you're gonna do, as I mentioned, it's a little bit different. This right over here kind of came out like a little bit. So what we could do, if it is that it's a bit short on that side here, you can just add just the manual place a forward here. Let's try to mimic the curve a bit there. Let's place one more. Yeah, going up like that, and just bring this down like that. And then what you do is that you're going to take the cord here and just place it 1-meter pole, and then place a 2-meter pole here, 2-meter pole here, and one more here. Switch on over to 1-meter pole right here, and we can switch to 2-meter pole for that for the middle part. Then what we would going to do next is pretty much just gonna just add in to the detail here. We'll just add the 0 at the end. We can switch over to our half wall, and we just can place these in right here, like that. Now, it's nothing fancy because we're not going to really see much of the side here, but you know, we still have to make everything look good. But yeah, so that is so that's what I did on that side, and pretty much doing the same thing over here. I try to do this a little bit different and see how I can have like a space here, but I prefer the other side, so you can do it that way, and then we just proceed from there. So the next thing that we're going to do once we're done with the sides here, we're going to move around to the back part, and pretty much this is what you should have because we didn't do anything right here. So where we kind of extended the beam here, we're going to place 3 of these 2-meter poles like that, and we are pretty much mimicking the front, but we're not going to have the 26-degree part here. So we're just going to place a wood here to hold that up. Actually, this snapping point here is what we really need, because right here is where we're going to place a 2-meter beam here. So let me just double check here. It says 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you create the snapping point right here. Place a pole here just to support it, and place a snapping point right here. But right here is where you're going to grab your 45-degree beam, and you're going to snap it right at the bottom here, and just snap 1, 2, 3, and 4. What you should have. I think this is going to break. That's here. So let's do the other side so that we can get it to support. Get it to support that middle point. Like this 2-meter pole here. Bring this down. Then we'll just create a snapping point, 2-meter beam right here, 45-degree beam. Then just go all the way up to the top here. Then meet right in the middle. Get some support right there. Now, next thing that you're going to do, so a similar thing here with the stone wall back here. So you're going to do is that you're going to raise the, so this you're going to stretch this. It's going to be 3 after the iron pole right here, and just raise these up, and it's going to be a 6 stone walls high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So raise this about 6 stone walls high. So you're going to do the same thing over here. Then we'll proceed from there.
So the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to place a X right here and one down here, and then we're going to switch on over to our stone wall, and we're just going to go on the inside here. We're trying to use the snapping points here where the middle of the X. I'm going to snap one right here, and then another right here using the middle snapping point for the X. You can take the X out once you've done that, and you can pretty much carry the wall over like this. So that's staggered. Like that. Now you're gonna have these little openings here, not to worry, we're gonna address that. But first we're going to switch on over to our dark shingles roof, 45-degree. I'm gonna just snap that right in here, just kind of cover this part up, going all the way up to the top here. Then switch on over to a 1-meter beam here. We're gonna snap that right at the end, then we can snap our roof here to that, and then we can just set the snap point to the end and just use that snapping point and going all the way up to the top here. We go right underneath there, and we should push this into, push it into the roof here like that, and just do the same thing over here. Now, one thing I want to mention that so for right for the top here, I pretty much did the same thing like what I did for the front. Use the 1-meter beam, just rest it right on the top of the stone here. Make sure that the edge of the when you start, the edge of the beam here is pretty much in line with the stone wall here, and you place it close to the edge, not complete to the end here, and you just snap these 1-by-1 beams here so that you can create the snapping points to place these 2-meter poles here in here. And then what you do is just place the 2-meter beams here, just kind of cover the edge there of the stone to kind of make this look cleaner like that. And we'll do the same thing here where we just kind of throw a regular wooden wall at the back here like that. Just cover that up. Now for right inside here, what we're gonna do is that we're going to pretty much gonna do the same thing what we did up here, and we're just going to grab our 1-meter beam here. We're just going to place that right at the end here, and what should happen is that the 2-meter beam should be more in than out. And for right here, you could just throw like a 1-meter beam here, and then you're going to pretty much carry this over like this here, just creating all those little snapping points that we're going to use. Switch on over to a 1-meter pole. We'll snap that in, then 2-meter pole right here, 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 here. You pretty much get the idea, and we just kind of go up with this. Now, some parts you're going to need to use the core wood to help kind of make it look clean. So for example, for right here, we're just going to grab our core wood beam here, place that in, switch on over to a 1-meter pole, so that kind of slides that down just a little bit. Or if there's a little space here, we can try to see how it looks when it goes all the way up. It looks like that. Not too bad, we can work with it. But like for like maybe if you're using a 2-meter pole or so, or anything, you can just make that adjustment there. If you don't like the little gap you're seeing, you just go all the way up. Don't like this, then you can bring it down with the core wood. Just something I wanted to mention, give you guys some options. And then we just place some 2-meter beams here, kind of cover the edge of the stone here like that. And we're gonna switch on over to a 45-degree beam, and we just going to kind of cover this up. So we can set the snapping point to the top here, and this is like pretty much the back, so nothing fancy. So we kind of set the snapping point to the top and kind of slide down just a little bit.
And then we're just gonna go all the way up with this, like that. Just do the same thing here on the other side, all the way up, like that. And what we're gonna do is that when we go inside, let's go inside here. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna add glass. So just like what we did with the front, we're just gonna add some glass right here. So we'll just go to heavy, grab some glass, and we're pretty much going to place it right here at the front. We'll just rest it right on top of the stone here, just to kind of start things off. Just make sure that's snapped in properly there. There we go. And we'll just bring this over like this. And then we can aim at the pole, wooden pole here, just to snap these in when we are going up to the top, like that. And just remember that you can still do the forward trick here, just to kind of slide things down just a bit. Just aim here at the wood, just switch it around like that. And then we can aim at the snap point to the bottom here, aim at the core wood, where you can slide this down just a little bit so that you don't have the glass showing too much on the outside. You're going to show a little, but yeah, you don't want it to show too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete it off screen, and then we'll proceed from there. So just for the inside here, this is going to be important. If it is that you're going to follow exactly the layout I am pretty much doing, is what's going to be right here is going to be like a throne. It's going to be right here. So this is a little throne area, and we're going to have like a heart right in the middle. So to do that, I pretty much add so remember, this is like our central snapping point. This is the middle of the build here. And we placed a 1 meter beam right here to create a snapping point, and placed a 2 meter beam right here to the side and snap a 1 meter beam like that. Or it could be just to be done a lot easier that way if you just place like a 2 meter beam right here after like the center, the next snapping point here. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to switch over to our hearth and set the snapping point here, and we just can place that, we'll set it to its top. So place that in like that. Just kind of giving us some space here to work with, because what we're going to do is that we're going to place a stone floor here at the back here like that. And we're going to curve the stone floor here, one tick rotation, then we rotate another one like that, and then we rotate another going into the wall like that. And we just pretty much repeat the same step here around the other side. As I said, as where we're going to put the throne. So we want to make this look all fancy and nice. So we're going to place some curved staircase. I know someone is a viewer out there that love a round staircase, so he's definitely going to love this one. So right here, as with the floor here, it's just going to be like this regular wood. So let's visualize that that's going to be like the floor. And what we're going to do is that we're going to do some manual snapping. We can use two things here. So we can use a stone floor. We can kind of create our own staircase here. We're just going to start using the heart here, kind of aim here, position this, hold down shift key, and then we kind of place another that's a little bit lower like that. And we're just going to turn this into, yep, right into the wall here like that. And we can do is just to test that, see if everything is smooth as butter. And we can just do the same thing here on the other side. And what we're going to do is that we're going to do another similar thing here, but that one's going to be wood. And we'd start from like from the front here, and we'd switch on over to, we're going to use regular wood for the staircase. And then, so we place regular wood right here. Just going to start this off right here. And what we do is that we're going to place another right here. So we kind of use the middle snap point here for this part. But for right here, we're just going to place 1, 2, 3. Like that. And we're just going to do the same curve staircase that we've been doing. Like that. Kind of bring that to the wall now. Turn this one more time. And then what would happen at the top here, we just kind of feel this out to see if it is smooth. Yes, we can walk up. And then right up the top here is we're going to use this last step up here to place. We're going to switch on over to our ashwood floor. And we're just going to snap these here like that and kind of go, just send it all the way back here like that. And for like the sides here, what you can do is just use the small one by one ash wood. Pretty much follow the flow of the stairs here, like this. And maybe we can just snap one here, this full size one here, going back here, and then this kind of just meets it here, like that. And then you can maybe go for a full one, this maybe overlapping, or we just switch to this the same small one. It's something like this. So I'm just going to complete it off screen and show you what I have. Maybe that will inspire you to do your own little setup here. So I've made adjustments here on inside here. I've placed the floors in and also added some half wall trims here. Going across and place some 1x1 floors right on top of the stone wall here where the window is at. So I've also made a staircase here. So starting from the end here, or starting from this end here, coming down either way. This is where the floor is going to start for the upstairs, and this is going to go all the way back here to where you see this iron beams at. So this is pretty much the line or the wall that you're going to pretty much make. Now just a little bit of adjustment. Now the beam here is go across right here. You're gonna have to adjust this by pushing this up here. I would suggest that you place these in first up top before you take out the bottom ones. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete that because we're kind of setting up to do the next floor for this longhouse. All right, so with a bit of zhuzhing up, I pretty much did the floor in here and added like a red carpet that leads right to the hearth, and set up like a feast table right here, and also place some furniture to kind of fill this place up, a bookshelf, and a little trophy display for the egg. And let me just kind of go back out there so you can see how it looks, and the throne is in the center, and I think it's like a really nice setup for the longhouse here. And I've added the staircase. I've added a little bit of a bend to it, so yeah, it's just to give you guys some ideas as to what you can do. Not sure if you guys are going to decorate it the exact way how I did it, but you can pretty much pause and look at what I've done here and go ahead and try to replicate it. Make sure that when you place in the heart, if you're playing with fire hazard, make sure that there's no wood underneath the heart, because there were the beams that were used to start from doing the layout. Yeah, took those out so that I can place a heart there because it was catching the wood on fire. Now, also I want to mention that you're going to place a column here. I think it's a must for this because it really kind of cleans this up a bit. As you can see, I didn't do it over here, but I can quickly demonstrate what I did. Just take out the floorings here, because you can easily put it back when you snap right there. And what you need to do is just going to get one of those darkwood arch and just hold down on shift and just manually place it in. Let's place a beam here just to kind of guide the process here. Actually place the beams going all the way up. Then we can switch on over to the darkwood pole. I'm gonna slide that close as possible to the beam there at the back. And then what we can do is that we can switch over to regular wooden pole, rotate it 2 times like that, and just snap it right beside it there. If it doesn't, let me just undo that just a bit there. All right, so hold down on shift key. You can hold down on control and it shows you exactly how the piece would look when you place it down. There we go. And we can do over here same thing. We take this out so we can place this in properly like that. And then we can throw down one right to the side here. I can set the snap point to the top and kind of aim there right at the top there. That's another way you can do the columns. I'm just gonna bring this all the way up, do the size right here. I think this goes too far into the floor up above, so I recommend you just use the 1 meter pole. Place that in. Switch over to a 2 meter darkwood pole. You're gonna snap that right in there. If it is that the 1 meter beam is not shown over the 2 meter pole, then you can leave it as is. You can afford that little extra instance. And then right at the top here, get your 1 meter beam, hold down on shift key, and just gonna slide it as close as possible to the floor there. I think the max about that, and just place these to the side here like that. There's pretty much to see the same thing I've done over here. This is a bit lean, yeah, sloppy there. Let me just fix that. Let me just set this snap point to auto, hold down on shift, and just center that as best as I can like that. And then we can just snap that in there, and yep, pretty much you just put the floor back in, rotate, set it in, and just snap these in like that. You have to turn that in some more, and you're pretty much good to go. What you can do if you want to add a bit more like decoration, so you could maybe place like a sconce or maybe something else. I don't know what you may have in mind, but sconce works nice there. If your fire is out, that's a nice look right there. And that's just pretty much it, what I've done with the basement. Now we're going to go upstairs. All right, so we are outside and we're going to work on the top part here for the longhouse. And that once we get that done, that will be pretty much it for the build. So you should have this section here, and you might have just took out the other parts that are not within the iron poles that we have created here, the border here. So what you're going to do is that you're going to have like a sign here. So you should have at least about from the original spot where the roof started, you'd have like a half of this wall and then the next wall. You're going to place this sign right at the very top in that piece there for the wall, and you're going to center it. So you don't have to do it like how I did it down at the bottom below, where you kind of offset it a bit. You can center this. This is fine, and you're using the same text, that you'd use down below for this roof here. You're gonna use up here. Now, when you place that in, mention that you added that half wall up here. What you can do is that you can change that and put a full wall, or just put like another half wall up top here. Just so, well, it's for this part here, where it kind of spill over a bit. You're just gonna put an extra row of wooden wall right there, so that you can get the top part. Remember to place a 1 meter pole here, so you can pretty much mark where the center is, so as in where you would start. I wouldn't go all the way up because it will interfere with the forward when you're placing it. So we're going to grab our 26-degree beam forward, and we're just going to pretty much repeat the same steps we did below. Just a reminder, you hold down on shift key, make sure that the top of the core wood, as you can see, so this would be like the height that you would work with. The top of the core wood is pretty much it's in line with the image that you're working with. So let me just place this in the center, something like that, and you pretty much work with that line, going over. Take your time, don't need to rush this part. You just follow the line, place it, follow the line, place it, because once you have this part done, everything else is pretty much easy. You would just snap everything else just using the snap points provided, even on the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and complete this off screen. So you're pretty much going to go all the way over here to the end of this wooden wall. So the next thing that you're going to do once you have the wood beams here in place, and I've did the back here. I need to add the 45-degree ones, but you can go ahead and do that. But the next thing that we're going to do after adding these, you're going to grab your 2 meter beam, and you're going to place it right at the end of the last core wood. That core wood should be at least in line with the end of the wooden wall here that we use as a canvas. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to switch on to ashwood, because we're going to use ashwood throughout. So you're going to place ashwood right there and connect the roof right here. Now, what is important, because all the roof pieces here are manually placed. Now, your placement may be off just by a little, or maybe by far, if you're far from how I did close to the borders there. So I would suggest that you start with one side. Like for example, if you're doing the wall, I'm going to use ash wall. You start with one side right here, and you're going to carry this over. You should at least get the right spacing here once you add the other 2 meter beam and walls and the 2 meter pole coming down here. It should be in line like this, but in regards to right here, it should be as well. All right, close enough. The only thing is that will be a problem is that if you start right here and do that and try to bring this over and then start another one over here, they may not be on the same height, because this might be slightly lower or higher than the other side. So I just want you to bear that in mind. So I just want to suggest just use one side and just pretty much bring this all the way over like this. As you can see. So as you can see, this is a perfect example. This beam, this pole here, actual pole, is see where the crease is at. This is slightly higher than the other side. So this is what I wanted to point out. But once you need to have that added here, and you can just place a wall here as well, because we're just going to use ashwood here pretty much throughout. So what you're going to do next is that you're going to grab your door and you're just going to set the snapping point for the door, right? You're using this grease here. You're just going to rotate it. Let's make sure that so it should be, let me tell you, the rotation should be about two rotations. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to get your 1x1 ashwood wall and you just snap it right at the end there, end of the door like that. And you're just going to bring that down to the roof there. You can take out the door and you're going to pretty much do the same thing here. Bring this around like this and you're going to bring it up here. Around to that point. So you may find that this is kind of flushed in with the end of the beam here, right at the edge here. And because we're going to add some more detail here. And what you're going to do is that we're going to let's start from here. So you're going to start from the middle snapping point here. So the core wood. So note you're snapping this to the core wood. Where these two core wood meet, that's where you're going to snap it to, not to the wooden wall here, because that's not going to be the center. We manually place these core wood in, and this rests right in front of the wall and not within it, where we have like a center point for the wall. So bear that in mind. So once you have that placed in, so you're going to have 1, 2 rotation, 1 rotation, and then you're going to switch to a 45-degree, and this would be like that. So this is going to be 1 rotation. This is 2, 1, and this is pretty much 2 for the last one, like that. And if you see that it's maybe touch a little to hold up, you're gonna get a 2-meter beam here and you can attach it to the end here. So it should pretty much go into this 2-meter beam that you place here. Not the cleanest, but from afar you will get the overall vision of it. And you're pretty much going to do the same thing on this side. So I suggest that you just go ahead and do that. Also, before you proceed, we're just going to work out the window here so that you can do that as well. So right where we have the wall here started, just going to place one here, and we're just going to start our window right here. We're going to maybe put a space there, and then we're going to work our way. We're going to try to space this out here. So what you're going to do is that you're going to take the door work again. Now, because you're just doing the outer part, which is just going to be like the depth, so it's fine to use the snapping point here, as this is just a height difference. And just take out the door, and then you just rotate, and then snap it to the end right here, going up to the top like that. And you do the same thing, place a ashwood wall rather, right there. You can just carry that all the way up to the top there like that. And I'm gonna take this out. We're gonna make sure to try to space it up properly. So we did a space here, right? So the space, and then we put like one right here, space, one right here. So when we come right here, then we should have pretty much an evened out window placement. We have 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and then you have like a ashwood wall here right in the middle. You're going to have to place like a half wall. If you're seeing like a gap here, place a half wall. You're going to need that to support the middle part of the roof, because it's more than likely would be like saying it's red at this point. Right now it's orange. It was saying red earlier, but not blood red, like it's going to break. So that should give it a little bit more support if in case you're having problems, because we're going to remove some of the wall here, and we're going to try to see how we can keep the iron holes and beams in to keep the support going for the structure. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. So yeah, so I'm going to complete the other side, and then we'll proceed from there. So the next thing that we're going to do once you have the roof here in place and added these little side depth here, so we're going to add some details to the window. So right up the top here above the window opening, you're going to place a half wall. I'm going to place it right up top from using this part, this side here. and pretty much do the same thing on the other side. Now, the other thing that you're going to do is that you're going to get your ashwood arch, and you're going to place one right up here at the top, and you'll place some ashwood poles here going down, 2-meter pole and then a 1-meter pole right here. Right here in the window opening, you go for the small ashwood arch, and you're going to place these right up here. And you're going to go for your decorative wall, and you're just going to place that right here. Place the other one right up top. I'm just going to go right up into the roof there. You can do the same thing here. Add a small arch. And yeah, so once you have that done, you're going to place the 2-meter ashwood beam right at the bottom there of the window. And then you're going to place some regular floor. Once you've added these here, the next thing that you're going to do is that right. So this ashwood arch, you're going to pretty much use this line going across here. But before you do that, you're going to have to set up right here to grab your door and just set it to the side like this, snap it to the wall like that, and you're going to use a snapping point. Set a snapping point for the 1-meter 1x1 wall to the top. Aim right there at the bottom, right at the end of the door, as you can see, like that. And then just take out the door, go for a regular ashwood wall, and just place 2 on top. You can take this out and place a half wall under it. Yeah. Now, once you have this in, so here's a little thing you're going to do, and you're going to take the 2-meter pole beam here, place 1, 2. You're going to make a little adjustment. There's going to be a little adjustment here, so you're going to place 3. Right here is where you're going to place the door. The reason being why we have this gap here is because of what we did at the end of the structure here to kind of add that little depth here, and also it kind of wraps around. So that created this little gap here. So you place a snapping point here, and what you would do next is that you take a 2-meter, you can take the ashwood arch and set the snapping point to the top and bring this over like that. But right there is fine. You may have something like that, or maybe you can bring it over just a bit more like that. I'm just gonna look at it. We can try to adjust it a little bit. What we can do is that we can just using the door again, and we can just push this over just a bit more if it is like it's too much into the window. Just take this out here just for the time being. So we just go for the arch. Get the snap point to the top. And we can just maybe place it around right there. So I think that's like the best we could do. If we push it over too much, then it will start to show the wall. We can reposition the wall here by just using, we'll just use that. We kind of slide the snap point here, just slide the door in. You can see, just slide the door in. Use the door to kind of slide that in. And then up here, we just place a half wall. So if it is that it's off with the wall here, you can just do that when you're positioning the arch and get that in. And then we just add the 2-meter ashwood pole like that, and we're just going to repeat the same steps here over on the other side. Now, I mentioned that we're going to pretty much use the snapping point over here from this side, carry over. So what you can do is that you can just put a 2-meter beam there, just make sure that mark it if there's no snapping point there to use, and then and just bring this over to the other side here. So 2, 3. And then you just have to adjust it with the door, that gap. Or you can try it, you can place it and see how it looks. If it looks okay, like what you're showing, you can just go ahead and just work with it. And we'll just bring this down like that. And then we just do the sides here, just using the darkwood. This one at the top, switch to 2-meter darkwood pole. And that's what we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete this on the other side, and the back is pretty much the same thing. Also, around the back here, I've added glass. As you can see, I've done the detail work here. So I'm going to complete the rest off screen and we'll proceed.
So the next thing that we're going to do once we have done with our windows here, also I've added the half wall right at the base here. I manually place it in, pretty much using yeah, one of the creases here as a marker and place it at that height, slightly below the window. So you can go ahead and do that and kind of finish up the window there. Now the next thing we're going to do is to add this little detail here to the side of the roof. And so what you're going to do is you're going to grab your 45-degree X and going to snap it into the core there, right there, and on the other side, like this. Also, you can take out the walls here at the top. You no longer need these that we've already worked out for our curved roof here. Just take them all out. And what you can do is that you can reposition the iron pole just a bit, just kind of slide it down by using like maybe a 1 meter pole or maybe the core wood just to hide it. We're just gonna take the ones out from inside as well. So like a simple nudge that you can do. Seems like it does, just about 1 meter. So we can just maybe do a core wood. Use a core wood and nudge that down just a bit more. Just take out the top here. Take it out and then place it back in. We take out the 1 meter pole up here. So we can place that in like that. So it's pretty much touching. It seems like as if we can take out the whole top part here and should have that middle, that iron pole there still supporting inside. It's touching one of the roof. Yep, right here. You can see. So pretty much we can take all of this out because we're getting support from the walls here. But yeah, so once you have that done and we have the X here, you're going to switch on over to your regular angled beam, 26 degree. You're going to snap it to the X. You're going to do a 1 rotation and then 1 like that. You can see it over here. You can see the 1 rotation and then right here is another 1. So it should overlap like that. You can take out the X. No longer need that. Then we're going to add a bit of a layer and depth to it. Switch on over to 26 degree version and aim at the first 26 degree beam you placed and holding down on shift key, place it just slightly above that angle beam and just 1 rotation, snap the other, do the same thing on the other side, slightly above, minor placing that, and just snap the next one here like that. You can tweak and adjust just to make it perfect. And then what you're going to do is switch on over to your 45 degree beam, and this is 1 rotation as well, and 1 right here and 1 right over here. So you should have something like that so far. And then the final touch you're going to add, grab your 1 meter pole. You're going to snap that right in the middle there like that. Once you kind of fix line these ones up, and then you're going to switch on to your 1 meter beam, hold down on shift key at the center point to the edge, and then kind of line it up with the beam there and place it in like that, and that is how it should come out. So that is pretty much the Longhouse. So the top part for me, it's pretty much for just aesthetics purposes. There's space here that could be used for a room, but it's pretty narrow. But I said that it felt incomplete. So it's a top part there, and I thought that is a nice addition. So yeah, congratulations to you guys who have made it this far in the tutorial. Just want to thank my patrons and YouTube members for your continued support in keeping the channel going. And thank you for watching. And remember, always aspire to inspire. Peace.